Welcome back to the She Thrives Influential Women podcast. I am your host, Lori Dowling, and I am a soul embodiment healer for women, as well as a public speaker, award winning published co author, and columnist for the Rochester Women's Online magazine. And it is so good to be here with all of you today. Thank you so much for listening in. If you're new to the podcast, hit that subscribe button. Never ever miss another episode. And remember to leave a comment and what you find is your biggest takeaways from the interviews that you might be listening to from the women that were on the podcast previously or even this episode. Share with the women in your life who are on their own growth and transformation journeys, who may find the information in these episodes valuable. Let's continue to grow this podcast, get the word out there across the world, to be able to show support to women everywhere, right? And to bring love and light into their day. And that is really my sole purpose in all that I do, is to bring a message to women to let them know that transformation and growth and healing is possible. And you can shift from, feeling stuck and feeling like you're operating at a lower vibration to stepping into your fullest selves and operating at a higher vibration. And a little bit of background on me for those that are new is that I am a woman who has a little over 14 years sober from alcohol. And my journey um, from in sobriety has led me down this incredible path of healing, growth, and full transformation. And it really has been over the course of 14 years, different variations and different transitions and transformations and different levels of healing. And, previously, I relaunched the podcast. This is the second episode after the relaunch. I took a hiatus from the podcast while I navigated some major life changes, which I had discussed in the previous podcast, a recent divorce. And, you know, I lost my job right after my marriage ended, like literally 2 weeks after the fact. My whole life changed within an instant. And the doors that closed were needed. Earlier last year, I started doing a deep dive into shadow work, which is a beautiful process of really doing a deep dive into healing and removing the shadows that we tend to hide behind from our past, traumatic experiences, and the pain that we endure over the course of time that almost it's like and in this process we reconnect with our inner child and realize that we have abandoned that inner child. And we realize, like, and this is my experience, I can speak for myself, is realizing that the woman that I have always been meant to be, the woman that I am, right? I came home to myself through that journey, through that healing process. And I didn't know what any of that meant until I really did the work and realized that I was this very creative, energetic, bubbly, funny, person who had this big imagination and this incredible capacity to create and to serve. And I had this love for life and experience and people. And along the way, a lot of that was a lot of that was, I almost want to say, robbed from me, right? Because trauma happens and pain happens. And, along the way, people tell you that you're worthless or you're not smart enough or not pretty enough. But the way neuro-linguistic programming works, your brain takes that and it stores it as information, and you start to believe that those are your truths. And we lose sight of ourselves. And it took me a long time to really learn who I was. And I feel like doing the shadow work that I did over the summer and doing the deep dive that I did really helped me step into not only that bubbly, vibrant, silly young girl that I was, and that was really truly who I am. It's also the very strong intuitive, excuse me, how strong I am with my intuition. I have a very strong intuition. And the fact that I can connect with people on a really deep level and really understand them and I don't want to say read them, but I can pick up on their energies and I can understand and have compassion and love for them and hold space for them, right? And that is a gift that I'm still navigating and really learning to dive into. But I shifted gears from women's empowerment coaching to this healing work, using shadow work, using somatic release methods like deep breathing, movement, things to that nature, and guiding women and not only, you know, finding confidence, but more or less embodying it, embodying confidence, which is something that I want to talk to you about today, is embodying confidence and how to embody confidence. I'll be hosting a virtual workshop. I did have it scheduled for April 8th, but I am going to be moving it out a week. So once I have that date, I will absolutely put that in the description of this podcast so that you can sign up because it's going to be an amazing virtual workshop that I'm going to host on Zoom. It'll be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But wherever you are globally, you are more than welcome to participate. I would love to have you in that space. And we can do a deep dive into the embodiment of confidence. So I do have my little notes right in front of me. So you will see me scrolling, and you are going to see Sassy jumping up on the computer and saying hello because she's in one of her rambunctious moods and she is up and down. So just like right now, I will say hello, Sassy. She doesn't want to be on camera right now. She's not being very nice. Bye bye. All right. So let's dive in. And you see, you know what I've realized is that confidence isn't something that you find, it's something that you remember. And I say that because at some point in your life, you were confident. You were born with confidence. I mean, I don't know if you can remember when you were a child, but I can remember being this little girl who would go up and talk to anybody. Or I would be the kid that when I wanted to learn how to ride a bike without training wheels, I just hopped on the bike and took off riding it. I didn't ask for help. I wanted to do it. I'll never forget it. And I will have to say I did fall. I was outside. My siblings were playing with their friends. I was hanging out by myself, and I saw my sister's bike sitting there, and it had the two wheels, and I had my little training wheels on my bike. And I said, forget this. I don't want to ride with training wheels anymore. And this is actually the mentality I've carried on with throughout my whole life, really, is if I don't want to do something anymore, I typically, if I or I want to learn something new or I want to try something for the first time, I do it without even a second thought. And I think that's one of my favorite things about me is that I'm not afraid to try it or do something. So I was, I decided to hop on my sister's bike and just take off riding. So my brother and my sister, they're playing with their friends across the street and I'm riding up down the road and I'm on, I'm so excited and I'm so proud of myself because I'm doing this. I'm riding this bike without training wheels and I've never done this before. And I was so excited and I was like, I looked at my brother and I'm like, hey, Brian, look at me, all excited. And then whack, down I went. Down I went. Hurt, pretty sure. Can't really remember, but I do know that it sucked. And I think I was more embarrassed because I did that in front of the neighborhood kids and my siblings, and I was like, felt like like I failed at this, but it wasn't a failure. And I mean, you can take that with you throughout your whole life with anything that you try for the first time, right? What do you do when you fall off your bike? You stand back up, you dust yourself off, right? You get back on and you do it again and you take off riding. You may fall once more, maybe even twice, but you coast. You get it, and you go, and you got it. And then thanks to muscle memory, you typically never forget, right? It's like riding a bike, they say. And they say that for a reason. But I always had that confidence. And there was a point where I did lose that confidence. It it was almost like I forgot that it was ever there until I learned to embody confidence and remember it. Um, so there is a point in your life where you were confident and you were free. You didn't question yourself the way that you do now. You didn't shame yourself or judge yourself the way that you do now. And then somewhere along the way, you were taught to doubt yourself and you were taught to shrink. And it's almost like you had to shrink in order to fit in. You don't realize, especially at a young age, how, how these things cause us to shrink. We don't think about how we have to make ourselves smaller to fit into certain spaces. We don't know anything about alignment or any of that, right? Like I was silenced a lot and I was made fun of a lot. I was bullied a lot. I was not the popular girl in school, not by any means. And I was a wallflower. I was terrified of what people thought about me. I really was quiet. I had I would show who I truly was to people I was comfortable around and felt safe around. But even then, that was questionable. So I spent most of my life in fear of what people thought of me because I was constantly beat down and belittled and, made small. And I always felt like everything I said was insignificant or unimportant because I was always told to be quiet, always told to shut up, right? So I lost that confidence for quite some time. And you get older and you find yourself saying, I just need more confidence, right? Have you ever found yourself saying that? I just need more confidence. And the thing is, I want to lovingly tell you this. You don't lack confidence. Hear that again. You don't lack confidence. You've just been conditioned out of it, especially as women, right? When you look at society in the social norms, or the workforce, even where most of us work in male dominated fields, right? Men make more money, men are treated different. But we're taking our power back and we're demanding equal salaries. We're finding our voices and saying that this is unacceptable. I work just as hard or even harder, right? We're taking our power back. We're embodying our confidence, right? This is the work that I do, the work that I've lived, embodying confidence, healing trauma, helping women find their way back to themselves. So let's talk about what is embodying confidence. What are the steps? How do we, rather than think our way into confidence, how do we become it? And the step one is awareness, because you cannot change what you're not aware of. Start noticing, where are you holding yourself back? Where do you find yourself overthinking? Where are you shrinking so that you can fit into rooms that you're not meant to take space in? Ask yourselves those questions, and without judgment, just with awareness. Because most of this is automatic. It's just automatic. Try not to be so hard on yourself. Give yourself grace and just go into this again, not judging yourself. Come from a place of love. And notice the patterns, the conditioning, the survival mode. And when you see it, when you can actually see it, you can begin to shift it. Step two, rewrite the story. Now that you see it, you see the patterns, right? You see the conditioning. You can see that you are just in a mode of survival. You see it now. You basically, this is where you get to question it. Ask yourself, is this actually true? Is this something that I've been telling myself for years? Because most of our limiting beliefs are not facts. They're not facts. It's not truth. They're stories. There's stories, the I'm not good enough, or the people will judge me, or I shouldn't say or do that. That is just a story you're telling yourself. That is not your truth. That is not the reality. That is not a fact. You are good enough. And you know what? If people are judging you, it's because they're uncomfortable with themselves most often, right? Those beliefs were created in moments where you were trying to protect yourself. But you're not that version of you anymore. You get to rewrite your story. You get to say, I don't want to be this version anymore. I want to be who I truly am. I want to be the person I was born in this world to be. You get to rewrite that story. You get to take the pen back. And not with fake affirmations, but with truth. I am learning to trust myself. I am allowed to take up space. My voice matters. Step three, embody it. This is where everything is going to shift, because confidence is not built in your mind. It's built in your body. It's not built here. It's built here. It's built here in your gut, your whole body. You can think confident thoughts all day long, but if your body is still in fear, you will still shrink. So now we move, right? This is where we move, literally. Stand differently. Walk differently with your head held high. Don't look down at the ground while you're walking. Hold your head up high, shoulders back, and move with confidence. Make eye contact. Say hello to somebody while you walk down the street. Breathe differently. Slow down. Move like the woman you already know you are. Move like the woman who knows her worth. Know your value and what you bring to the table and carry that when you move through rooms. Even if it feels scary, do it anyway. Because your body will shift. Your energy will shift. And when your energy shifts, people feel it. Step 4, become her daily. Confidence is not a one-time decision. It is a daily embodiment. It's choosing to speak when it feels uncomfortable, to show up when you want to hide, to trust yourself when doubt creeps in. And it's not about being perfect. It's about not abandoning yourself anymore. That's the real shift. Because the confident women, you know, confident women that they're amazing, right? You're not, you don't leave yourself in moments of fear. You don't abandon yourself, right? So if there's anything that you can take from this episode, let it be this. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not lacking anything. You are simply remembering who you are. And that woman, she's already within you. If this podcast spoke to you, if you're ready to stop overthinking, if you're ready to stop shrinking and you're ready to start embodying your confidence, I want to invite you to my upcoming workshop, to this amazing experience on Zoom. And that date is going to be on Wednesday. Let's see, I had it originally scheduled for the 8th, and now I'm going to move it to the 15th. So April 15th, a Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to do this, like I said, on Zoom. I will post all of the information in the description, and I will also put my contact info. Contact me, get yourself registered. I'd love to have you join me to be a part of this experience so that we can do a deeper dive, so that you can get a little bit more clarity on embodying confidence. Join the workshop. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and share with me what spoke to you the most. Share with me in the comments and let me know what your thoughts were. And just know that I'm holding space for you and I'm here for you. And if you would like to have a discussion on embodying confidence, we can always book a call. I'd love to be able to speak with you. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a fantastic, fantastic day.